The bond between a mother and her child is a primal force, an unbreakable tether forged in blood and love, capable of driving a parent to the edge of sanity and beyond. When that bond is severed by unspeakable violence, grief transforms into a ravenous beast, clawing at the soul, demanding retribution. For Marianne Bachmeier, this was no mere metaphor. It was a descent into a nightmare that would shake a nation. Born on June 3, 1950, in Sarstedt, Lower Saxony, Germany, Marianne's life was steeped in darkness from the start. Her family, displaced from East Prussia after the horrors of World War II, carried the weight of her father's past as a Waffen-SS member, a shadow of the Nazi regime's brutality. In a home ruled by his drunken rages, Marianne's childhood was a gauntlet of fear. At 9, a local salesman's predatory hands stole her innocence, leaving scars that would never heal. Her parents' divorce shattered what little stability remained, and when her mother's new partner cast her out, Marianne, barely a teenager, was left to fend for herself. By 16, she faced the harrowing reality of motherhood, giving birth to a child she tearfully placed for adoption. 2 years later, another pregnancy was marred by a brutal sexual assault, forcing her to relinquish yet another child. But when Anna was born on November 14, 1972, Marianne vowed to protect her daughter at all costs, raising her alone while toiling as a barmaid in Lübeck, Anna's tiny hand often clasped in hers amidst the clink of glasses and raucous laughter. On May 5, 1980, that vow was shattered. 7-year-old Anna, after a petty spat with her mother, skipped school, wandering the streets of their quiet neighborhood. There, she crossed paths with a monster, Klaus Grabowski, a 34-year-old butcher whose friendly facade hid a sinister history. Known to Anna as the neighbor with playful cats, Grabowski lured her into his home with a predator's cunning. What followed was a descent into hell, days of captivity, relentless sexual assault, and, in a final act of cruelty, Grabowski strangled Anna with his girlfriend's pantyhose, her small body discarded like refuse in a cardboard box on the desolate outskirts of Lübeck. Grabowski was no stranger to depravity. His record was a litany of horrors. A 1973 conviction for attempting to strangle a 6-year-old girl, a year in a psychiatric hospital for molesting 2 children in 1975, and a chilling choice to undergo voluntary castration, only to later seek hormone treatments to rekindle his twisted desires. The police knew him well, yet he roamed free, a ticking bomb in a quiet neighborhood. When Anna's lifeless body was found, Grabowski's confession to his girlfriend led to his swift arrest. He admitted his crime with chilling detachment, spinning a grotesque lie that Anna, a mere child, had tried to blackmail him for 5 marks, threatening to expose him. In his twisted narrative, her murder was a panicked reaction, not the calculated act of a seasoned predator. The trial began on March 3, 1981, in a courtroom thick with tension. Grabowski, smug and unrepentant, denied the sexual assaults, claiming he merely stroked Anna out of fear of another accusation. His lies hung in the air like poison, each word a fresh wound to Marianne, who sat in the gallery, her eyes burning with a mother's anguish. On the 3rd day, the courtroom was a powder keg. Spectators, including wide-eyed schoolchildren there to witness justice, packed the seats. Marianne entered, her long gray trench coat sweeping behind her like a specter of death. Her face was a mask of resolve, her steps deliberate as she moved past the gallery, her hand buried in her pocket. In a heartbeat, the air shattered with gunfire. Marianne drew a Beretta pistol and unleashed 6 rounds into Grabowski's body. The shots echoed like thunder, each bullet a scream of rage and sorrow. Grabowski crumpled, blood pooling beneath him as Marianne's husband cried out, "She's really done it!" So the courtroom froze in horror, the lifeless body of a monster sprawled before them. Marianne stood unflinching, the pistol clattering to the floor. She offered no resistance as officials seized her, her eyes hollow yet blazing with a fire that spoke of justice delivered. The court, unprepared for such chaos, had no security checks in place, a fatal oversight. "We saw no signs of disturbance," a spokesperson later stammered, as if the storm of a mother's grief could be so easily predicted. Charged with murder, Marianne spent 15 months in a cell, her story igniting a firestorm across Germany. Her release came when a court overturned the arrest, and she sold her tale to a magazine, its serialized chapters gripping a nation divided between horror and empathy. Her trial, beginning November 2, 1982, was a spectacle. Hundreds clamored for seats, the air electric with anticipation. Supporters raised $50,000 for her defense, dubbing it the community of those interested in justice and equality. Letters flooded newspapers, one declaring, "This mother is no murderer. She exercised a right the state has abandoned." Marianne's defense was fierce. Her attorney, Uwe Mayfert, turned the blame on the police, accusing them of enabling Grabowski's descent by allowing hormone treatments and ignoring his violations of bail. Marianne bared her soul, recounting a childhood marred by assault and abandonment, her voice trembling as she described a vision of Anna's murder. "I saw her standing before him, his hands choking her life away. Her screams filled my mind. I don't recall pulling the trigger, only his body jerking as the bullet struck." Anonymous threats of a bloodbath, if she were convicted, punctuated the trial, a testament to the public's fervor. The prosecution painted her act as premeditated, citing her alleged confession to a friend and her chilling words post-shooting, "I wanted to kill him." Yet Judge Gunther Kroger, skeptical but swayed by her torment, reduced the charge to manslaughter. Marianne was sentenced to 6 years, serving 3 before emerging into a world forever altered. She fled to Lagos, Nigeria, with a new husband, seeking solace in exile. But fate was merciless. On September 17, 1996, pancreatic cancer claimed Marianne at 46. In death, she was reunited with Anna, their graves side by side in Lübeck's Bergtor Cemetery. A mother and daughter bound eternally, their story a haunting testament to love's ferocious, terrifying power.